Now it's time for today's guest. Danielle Robay is a journalist and influencer who has transformed her generation's relationship with popular media, creating a platform for young women across the nation. Today she's here to chat about her new interview series, Pretty Smart, where she will be interviewing trailblazers across all industries and generations. Everyone, please give a warm Build Brunch welcome to Danielle Robay.
Welcome.
I think I almost had a Jennifer Lawrence moment on those stairs.
Oh really? It happens to the best of us.
I can imagine. This is such an awesome platform. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for
I'm
joining
glad to hear.
us. You have cool pants.
Thank you.
I love those
I
pants.
gotta keep up with you guys.
Oh man.
Oh, really?
Really? No, trust me, you're ahead of us.
Way ahead.
So you're launching a new interview series, Pretty Smart.
Yep.
Tell us about that. Tell us why it's called Pretty Smart.
I'll tell you all the things. So for as long as I can remember, I've wanted to be the millennial Barbara Walters. And a few years ago, I got a job that I thought was the dream job that was gonna help me get there. And it wasn't what I expected. I would like cry during lunch in the bathroom and I broke out into hives. And I ended up quitting. And during that time, I was unemployed for 8 months and I thought I was never gonna get another job. And I was like, what am I gonna do with myself? And I read books and I learned how to cook and I fell in love for the first time.
Oh my God.
And not anymore.
Okay.
That's okay too. Right, exactly.
They're at Target.
But I started asking myself questions. You know, you have a lot of time to reflect when you're unemployed. And I realized that I ask other, you guys are nodding. Yeah.
No, we got what you're saying.
This is ringing true.
Well, I realized, like you guys, I asked people questions for a living, and I never asked myself one question. And as soon as I did, my whole world changed. It opened up. And so this series is really going to be asking the trailblazing women the questions and the truths that we really want to know. Because I think as millennials and Gen Zers, there's so many great interview series out there, but nobody's asking the questions I'm curious about. And so that's what we're doing, and we have some amazing women lined up. I mean, professors, rocket scientists, actresses, comedians.
Give us some names.
Across,
give us some names.
I can't give you any names. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited now.
No,
Okay.
but it's going to be really great. And I love that you asked about the name because
Yes,
I
tell
have
me
this
about the
great
name.
thing. Okay, so I read a book called Beauty Sick, and it's by Dr. Renee Engeln, and this statistic that she notes in her book stayed with me. She asked women, would you rather be considered overweight or hit by a car?
Wow.
And 54% of women said, I'd rather be hit by a car. And then they would ask questions like, well, is it like a truck or a Prius? Or like, how fast is the car going?
Wow.
Sweet Jesus.
And, right? But if I'm honest, there was a point in my life where I would have asked those questions. And so I just feel like it's such a trick that society tells women that the #1 most important thing they must be is pretty. Because when you stop thinking about your looks, like it could be one of the 10 things you think about, but not the thing you think about. Because when you stop doing that, you get smarter, more talented, well-read, you have more time to be a good friend, like everything becomes better. And so this series is gonna really focus and spotlight women who are the kind of pretty that matters. Pretty bold, pretty witty, pretty strong, pretty smart.
Wow.
I love that so much.
I love that too.
Thank you.
So it's not just a hot girl summer, it's a smart girl summer.
You know, I was thinking that should be our hashtag.
I mean,
should
I
be.
think so, that makes sense.
I think so too, except for it's not just the summer because I really want this to be a movement that sustains. We're gonna have events and it's gonna be like a full-blown thing.
I love that.
Love it.
So you mentioned there's going to be some how-tos for listeners. From the research you've done so far and the women you've talked to, what do you think is the best piece of advice for those young women who just want to be pretty smart and trailblazers on their own?
Oh, I love that question. There's so many things, and I'm a really solution-based person, so the series and the events are really gonna have practical advice. I feel like Lean In was such a seminal text, but it didn't really give us like that, how do you ask for a raise?
Right.
You know,
Which is
like
why
I
it's a
love that,
joke
I know
now.
I should, but how do I do it?
Yeah.
So that's really gonna be a part of it, but I think the #1 thing is authenticity because it's so hard to actually truly do it. And I think we see in media, influencers are such a big part of our lives. It's like, what are we influencing? And in Latin, the root of the word influencer is influere, it means to flow. And I think when your purpose and your personality are aligned is when you're truly in a state of flow. And all the women I'm interviewing have that. Their personality and their purpose align, and it's true authenticity.
Yeah.
And it takes time, it takes, you know, some bumps and bruises and definitely some good and bad experiences to get there. But I think you know, we want to be the future trailblazers. They are our blueprints. We learn from their stories.
Yeah, and it takes action, which you have exemplified in your own life. I read that you moved to LA, didn't know anybody, you lived in a garage, you would send people food and just to like get their attention.
How did you know that?
Really good producers. Your own journey wasn't easy, so what did you learn from that?
I think any journey that's worthwhile is never easy. Yeah. That's one of the things I've learned doing these interviews. I've learned that you gotta stick it out, because the tough stuff sometimes does make you want to quit. Yeah. And I know, like, you guys are hosts, and I'm sure you do a million other things on the side, and there's moments where you're like, am I even on the right path? Like, why am I doing this? Yeah. And I think if you know your why, you figure out the how and the what. And so I've always really stayed true to that, is every time I've been uncomfortable or questioning things, I think about my why, and it keeps me on track.
You are on track. You're a correspondent at NBC LA, and you host a show for IMDb.
Yeah.
So what does a day in the life look like for you?
It's a fire drill. It's different every single day, which is part of what I love. But I try and get up early and work out. I'm training for a triathlon.
Good for you.
Oh my God.
It's one of the scariest things I've ever done. No. But and then I go into the studio and shoot stuff, and then I get out into the field and explore parts of LA, and I do something called Living Through Giving, so I try and highlight people in Los Angeles doing amazing things in their community, because it's not just Hollywood.
Right.
Do you need an intern? Because I will gladly be.
Oh, you are way too qualified. I could be working for you, please.
Oh, I don't think so.
Yeah, no, he should work for you.
I should work for you. Yeah, thank you.
I know him personally. I mean, he's really talarted, but you're more talented.
Yeah.
No, definitely not.
No, for sure.
It's all a journey, so thank you. You're very sweet.
Yeah, he's on his way. Larry King commented on your interview style, and he said, Danielle finds a way to draw people out. She can't help it, and you can't help but be obliged. So what do you
Larry
think?
King's single now. I think he wants you.
Oh, is he?
No, he's
not.
I think he's on his 8th wife.
Yeah,
but they're very in love. They're very in love. Yeah.
Well, we're not going to ship you. You're not number 9. We say no. How did it feel for him to say, yeah, I didn't think there was a romantic connection. I didn't read into that. I'm so sorry.
That's so funny.
But yeah, how did that feel? And what do you think developed that style that's very unique to you?
Well, I was so honored that he said that, because I've watched him for years.
Yeah.
You know, I really believe that no matter what field you're in, you have to study the people that are doing it best. And so I've watched like hundreds of hours of Barbara Walters and Diane Sawyer and Larry King. And so he was one of the people I grew up watching. And so when we got to have breakfast and he said that, it could make me tear up, you know? But the interview style, I think, just like you guys, you have like, it's just your personality, right? But I think we're all innately curious as journalists, and that's definitely something that rings true. Like, I want to know everything. Yeah. Like, tell me all the details, all the feels, I want it all, you know?
So this past weekend, you were a correspondent on the 15 Choice Awards, right?
Yeah.
How was that? How was the award show?
I didn't get to see the Jonas Brothers, but I did see Taylor Swift. It's so fun. I love being live. Like, you guys are so lucky you get to do this every day, you know?
Sure.
Live half the time.
We've made so many mistakes.
So many.
It's like I go to bed at night and I'm like, what happened? Am I canceled again?
No, sometimes when you're live, you like black out.
Every day.
Like it never happened.
When I rant about Trump, I go red and don't remember a thing I said. It's like, wow, you really were passionate.
For a few reasons.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I love award shows. You know, as much as I love, like, I'm interested in politics and I care about our world, but I like a little entertainment every now and then, so it was cool.
What fascinates about you and something I really love and strive to do is that blend of politics and pop culture. Especially right now, I think people our age are so interested in it, and it's how we're communicating, and just not only because our president's a reality TV star, just but celebrities. He is.
Still blows my mind.
Still blows my mind that he defeated the former Secretary of State. But whatever.
Yeah.
Putting that in quotes. But you give back to organizations like Step Up for Women's Network, Planned Parenthood. You hosted an event for equal pay. Tell us about your journey with these organizations and why it's so important for people like you, like us, to use our platforms to advocate for issues we care about.
Well, first of all, I think people really kind of don't give millennials and Gen Zers enough credit. I think we're really interested in the world, and we're very purpose-driven. And so all the people that I've looked up to, I have a mentor at NBC named Steve Carlston and someone named Michelle Weiner, and they changed my life. And when I look at them, they use their platform to serve others, and they're trying to make an impact. And that has always been my why. You know, I want to create a space for women to be spoken about and spoken to differently, and be able to also speak. You know, like just like you guys, like The View did that. You know, I think for a generation of women. So. I think you have to have a mission.
Yeah.
And that's what gets you through the hard stuff.
Right.
You know, when you're like, oh, I'm really tired, I don't want to wake up, or what am I doing? The why.
Are you seeing a difference in the way women are covered, as well as women journalists are able to cover stories? Do you think we are progressing in a way?
I think we are. We're not there.
Right.
I think I don't know the exact statistic, but I think newsrooms are still very male dominant. The people making the decisions
I
are
was going to say
men.
the producers, the EPs, and things like that are usually.
Yeah, and even in writers.
Yeah.
You know, I think in writing it's really important, because the more voices that you have, the more information and the different perspectives that you're getting. So I don't think we're quite there. I also think, you know, part of Pretty Smart is like, men, in some scenarios, it stops mattering what you look like, and for women, it always matters.
Always.
Like, we're still always talking about everyone's hair and what they're wearing, and I don't think we're quite there.
Yeah, we have a bit of a way to go. But Danielle, it
Yeah.
was so wonderful having you on.
Yay.
You're so impressive. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Everyone, make sure to check out Danielle's upcoming interview series, Pretty Smart, and to follow Danielle on social media for more information. That's all from us. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same table.
Bye.